Oh my God, you're so sweet.
They say the closest people to us are capable of the deepest betrayals. And sometimes, the truth is buried so deep, it takes a catastrophe to unearth it. This is the story of Marcus, Jennifer, and Daniel. Three people whose lives were bound together, until one secret threatened to destroy everything. Marcus was a successful accountant, married to Jennifer for 12 years. They had a beautiful home in Westchester, 2 kids in private school, and the kind of life that looked perfect from the outside. But like many marriages, cracks had begun to form. Marcus worked long hours. Jennifer was lonely. And his brother Daniel. Well, Daniel had always been the charming one, the adventurous one, the one who knew how to make Jennifer laugh. When Daniel's startup failed, he had nowhere to go. He moved into their guest house for what was supposed to be 2 weeks. It became 2 months. Marcus was often away at corporate retreats. Jennifer brought Daniel meals. They talked for hours. About their dreams. About their regrets. About all the ways life hadn't gone according to plan. And then one night, it happened. Marcus's trip was cut short. A deal fell through. He came home early. It was 11 p.m. when he pulled into the driveway. He noticed Daniel's car was still there, and Jennifer's car was in the garage. That wasn't unusual, but something felt off. He unlocked the front door quietly. The house was dark except for a light coming from upstairs. Marcus climbed the stairs slowly, step by step, each one heavier than the last. His gut was screaming at him, but his mind refused to believe it. The bedroom door was closed. He opened it. In that moment, everything stopped. The room, his heart, his entire world. Jennifer and Daniel. In his bed, in his home, in his life. Daniel saw him first. His face went white. Jennifer screamed. But Marcus said nothing. He closed the door. And he left. He drove for hours. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he couldn't be there. He couldn't face them. He couldn't face the truth. When he finally stopped, he was parked on the overlook at Eagle Point. The city lights spread out below him like a million broken promises. His phone was buzzing. Messages from Jennifer. From Daniel. He didn't read them. He just stared at the lights and wondered where it all went wrong. He thought about the first time he met Jennifer. She was wearing that blue dress at his colleague's wedding. She made him laugh so hard he spilled wine on his shirt. He'd been completely mesmerized. He thought about Daniel's face at family dinners, always making people smile, always being the hero of his own story. And he realized something in that moment. He had brought them together. He had created the conditions for this betrayal. In his absence, his brother had filled the space. In his indifference, his wife had found comfort. But knowing that didn't make it hurt any less. Marcus didn't go home that night, or the next, or for a week. He got a hotel room. He called a lawyer. He planned his exit from the life he'd spent 15 years building. But then Jennifer did something unexpected. She showed up at his office. She was a mess. Her hair was unwashed. She'd been crying for days. She stood in front of his desk and said, "I'm not going to ask for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking you to listen." Marcus wanted to throw her out. But something in her voice, something broken and raw, made him listen. Jennifer told him the truth. She told him about the lonely nights waiting for him to come home, about feeling invisible in her own marriage, about the moment when Daniel looked at her and made her feel seen for the first time in years. She told him it was the biggest mistake of her life. She told him that in Daniel's arms, she'd felt alive. But it was a false kind of alive, a lie she was telling herself. Because the moment Marcus came through that door, she realized what she was throwing away. Marcus listened, but he wasn't moved. He'd loved Jennifer, but now that love felt like it had been built on sand. The divorce papers were finalized 6 months later. Daniel disappeared. He moved to California, started over. Some people said Marcus should have been angrier at him, but in the end, Marcus was mostly angry at himself. He'd neglected his marriage. He'd chosen his career. He'd pushed Jennifer toward the very thing he feared most. And that's what Marcus had to learn to live with. They say hindsight is 20/20ths. Marcus often wondered what would have happened if he'd come home that night. Not early, not late, but on time. If he'd put down his phone. If he'd really looked at his wife. If he'd remembered why he married her in the first place. But he couldn't change the past. All he could do was move forward. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not about the affair. Not about the betrayal. But about the cost of taking the people we love for granted.